This is CBC Vancouver News.
Just an incredible moment. This happened Monday. She's been in that building for days.
Tonight on CBC Vancouver News, a life saved amidst the devastation in Syria and Turkey. And we hear from the BC rescuers who helped. Also, it isn't just cold and flu meds. Where is all the medication?
This problem is not going to go away.
Antibiotics becoming increasingly difficult to find, and
he watched my children grow up. He was our support system. And then when my kids were old enough to work, it was their first job.
mourners gather to honor and remember a beloved North Vancouver restaurant chef. Good evening, I'm Zahra Premji. Thanks for joining us. Dan is away tonight. 4 days after an earthquake devastated southern Turkey and northern Syria, people are still stuck under the rubble while search crews work around the clock. But earlier today, some hope. The CBC's Briar Stewart was there live as a rescue with the help of a team from Burnaby happened.
You can only imagine what the woman trapped under all of this has been living through for more than 4 days, and what it must feel like to know that help is so very, very close.
It's complicated. You can't really see what's going on in there. They're probably about 30 or 40 feet in the slab. So.
It's been 3 hours since the Turkish team first made contact with the woman. They were able to find her exact location with the help of some equipment the Canadians brought.
It's essentially it's an infrared camera that we can extend it and push it into a void space so we can get a better look, and then we can articulate this around.
The woman is trapped in her bedroom, as so many others were when the quake hit in the middle of the night, but miraculously escaped the crush of when this apartment building collapsed, violently throwing entire lives to the ground. Which is why this is such a remarkable moment.
It's like no other call I've been on.
Yeah, me neither. So it's a very special moment and it's very humbling.
They're able to give her food and water, but can't yet get close enough to pull her out.
She can talk.
Oh, yeah.
She's very good.
But she can't move out. She can't move past the door.
No move. No.
Okay. So you need to move more rubble. You need to move more concrete.
Yeah.
Let us know if you need anything. They're able to touch her. There is a door that's on top of her, so they're just trying to remove the obstruction so she can move around. But she is able to talk. She says she's okay.
But until she's out, there's fear on the faces of loved ones. The team struggles to reach her. They want a hydraulic lift, but no one has one. So they have to try another route by crawling underneath the building. Courageous work that's taking place all across southeastern Turkey. More than 6 hours after they made contact, there's finally enough space to free her. The crowd seems to hold their breath as they look on.
Again, just an incredible moment. This happened Monday. She's been in that building for days, freezing.
As soon as she's out, she's wrapped in a blanket and given oxygen and rushed to an ambulance and then the hospital. It's a rare moment of joy at a very dismal time.
They were all trying to get a photo of themselves after the rescue, so we want to get out of the way. We don't want to be in the photo. Dimitri and I are going to move over here. Excuse me, sorry. We're just going to come over here and join our Canadians. Thank you. Very, very good work. Thank you. Good work, everybody. Thank you.
Where are you from?
I'm from Canada.
Canada. Oh.
How does it feel to bring her out?
I am happy. We are happy.
He says he's thankful to the Canadian friends for helping us bring a survivor out after 108 hours.
What is it like to finally see the moment of her coming out?
Oh, it's incredible. It's such a rare event that you actually have somebody that can survive these conditions.
There are hugs and a few group photos, but there isn't much time to celebrate.
All right, let's get another one.
There are too many other buildings to get to. They just hope that some of those searches will be able to end in the same way.
Well, back here at home, it's been 15 months since floods tore through the Fraser Valley and interior, displacing hundreds of people. But now the city of Merritt is showing off new temporary homes. As the CBC's Tom Popick reports, officials in the community are hoping to convince more people to move back home.
This is a homecoming for Valerie, Stacy, and her family.
I'm excited about it. I think we all are excited.
Even if it isn't the exact house she'll move into.
This is pretty well what this place looks like.
Instead, she toured a model home, one of 31 temporary manufactured homes purchased for around $200,000 each with $24 million in provincial funding. It's the first phase of the First BC program to get hundreds of flood-displaced residents back into their communities.
I do want to say welcome home, and maybe we get everybody to say welcome home. Welcome home to Valerie.
Welcome home, Val.
For Merritt Mayor Mike Getz,
it's the first good news story we've had in almost 18 months.
Devastating floodwaters damaged more than 600 homes in this interior town. Half were demolished or require extensive repairs. 700 residents fled this destruction. At least 130 are still displaced. Levees and bridges here still need to be permanently repaired. With the threat of spring freshet flooding, there are fears some residents may never return. Getz calls this temporary home program a blueprint for other flood and fire-ravaged BC communities and those facing future climate change threats.
I think we will be used as a carbon copy of where this needs to happen if there's more global situations with weather. We're the test subject for it, so we have the expertise in this town now, and we do. We have some very smart, expert people here.
After living most of the past 15 months in a fifth-wheel mobile trailer, Valerie will move into her new home at the end of the month. The $1,300 a month below market rent will allow the family to rebuild. She says it's money well spent.
It keeps people in the town.
Just returning to Merritt.
Yes, it will be home.
For how long?
I'm hoping for good.
Brings stability after so much was swept away. Tom Popick, CBC News, Merritt.
Now to a warning from police in Metro Vancouver. They say more scammers are out there targeting seniors. Both the Vancouver and New Westminster police departments have released surveillance video of suspects in prolific senior scams. The fraudsters have allegedly been calling seniors saying a grandchild needs a lot of money for bail. Then the suspects go to the victims' homes to collect the cash. New Westminster police describe one suspect as a man in his 30s, around 6'3", with shoulder-length black braids pulled back into a ponytail. Now, if you recognize him, you're asked to contact police immediately. And Saanich police have arrested a suspected impaired driver whose car looks like a police cruiser. It even comes complete with flashing lights. Around 9 p.m. on Wednesday, police say the vehicle was driving erratically and very fast, the lights on top flashing. It happened on the Trans-Canada Highway near the Burnside Road exit. As officers approached, police say they saw a young child sitting in the back. The driver was arrested for impaired driving and allegedly had drugs and a BB gun with them as well.
Driving at high speed, driving erratically, driving while impaired, and operating a vehicle appearing to be a police officer really is such a shocking file, not one that I've ever seen.
Charges haven't been recommended as of yet. Well, the city of Burnaby is one step closer to building a $180 million green recycling and organic waste facility. But it may go up to dedicated parkland. As Janella Hamilton reports, some residents are upset. It could mean paving paradise.
When Paul Sapivnik is seeking refuge away from the busy city, he visits Burnaby's Fraser Foreshore Park.
It's just an amazing place. I've seen the bald eagles, red-tailed hawks, northern flickers.
But soon, that habitat and the species that live here may be threatened. The city of Burnaby wants to build a green recycling and organic waste facility known as GROW to process its own green waste, such as food scraps and yard trimmings for compost. The city of Burnaby says about 21 acres of this wetland habitat would be cleared to make room for the proposed organic waste facility, but some residents say that could have a detrimental impact.
It's a part of the Fraser River estuary, and
This is extremely fragile system.
Some residents like Josh Wong and his brother Arnold don't want to lose this space. They spent much of their childhood at this park, catching salamanders and fishing with their father. Memories Wong says he hopes to share with his son.
I won't be able to show him the same experiences I went through when I was a child because of this massive displacement that's happening and this construction.
Right now, the city transports the waste to North Delta. The city says the facility will reduce greenhouse emissions and produce enough renewable natural gas to heat 5,000 homes.
Now, what we've tried to do is position it as far away from the river's edge in the parkland and in areas of the park that are hopefully the least disruptive.
We really need to take care of even small spots like that.
In a statement, the city of Burnaby says to offset the land for the GROW facility, they're going to set aside new parkland elsewhere. But residents say the current land is already an ecological reserve.
If we just dig this place completely and drain it, so it's irreversible. It changed forever.
The city says space is limited and the park is the only feasible location. Construction is expected to start in 2024 with the facility up and running by 2026. The city says the public will have a chance to voice their concerns in the coming weeks, but some residents worry that could be too late. Janella Hamilton, CBC News, Burnaby.
BC's population is growing fast, and to keep up with that growth, the province is introducing new funding to support municipal infrastructure development.
Decades of choices by previous governments to underinvest in critical infrastructure means we're facing an infrastructure deficit now. Communities don't have the roads, the arenas, the wastewater treatment facilities that we know we need.
The Growing Communities Fund is a one-time investment of $1 billion available to all of BC's municipalities and districts, and it will be used to build infrastructure and amenities for the communities. That's like new roads, increase affordable housing, and improve recreation facilities. Well, if you've been to a pharmacy recently, you may have noticed some bare shelves as you search for cold and even flu medications. But as the CBC's Yasmin Gandam explains, many pharmacists are speaking up about how hard it is to get their hands on some antibiotics as well.
The antibiotic amoxicillin is a first-line treatment for bacterial infections. It comes in pill or capsule form for adults and a powdered version for children to mix with water. But pharmacists say the medicine is tough to find right now.
It's come back into supply once or twice, but even then it's a little bit restricted as to what we can get. It's like a couple of bottles here and there.
Bain says it's on back order from wholesalers and he doesn't know when it will arrive.
I think the manufacturers just haven't caught up with the demand that increased this year.
As of February 8th, 8 companies are reporting amoxicillin shortages. Juno Pharmaceuticals is one of several manufacturers working closely with Health Canada to import more supply.
By the end of February, first week of March, there should be enough supply in the entire Canadian market to facilitate about 6 weeks. So that would be 6 weeks inventory starting in March for the entire Canadian market based on usage.
Health Canada tells CBC News supply of these drugs remains limited, especially in powder form, due to significant demand. But Canadian market suppliers are expecting more stock over the coming months. Pharmacists say supply chain issues are a constant worry.
I think that people have to realize that this is not going to go away. This problem is not going to go away. I mean, it was definitely predicted at the beginning of COVID, when supply chain is a big issue.
An issue they hope is resolved, at least partly, next month. Yasmin Gandam, CBC News, Vancouver.
Well, the BC Green Party is urging the BC government to address healthcare accessibility issues on North Vancouver Island and across the province.
We need to focus on the health and well-being of British Columbians, and to achieve that, we need to ensure that the health and well-being of doctors and healthcare professionals is also being taken care of.
First to Know is calling for reforms to make healthcare more accessible. The Greens have been pushing for physician assistants in recent weeks. Advocates say the role of physician assistants in BC could fill in healthcare gaps. Physician assistants work under doctors and can help in offices, in surgery, and write prescriptions. All right, to North Vancouver now, where hundreds of mourners gathered tonight, all to say goodbye to a beloved man who served up hot food and warm smiles for decades. Ralph Dons was the longtime owner and chef behind the Soupmeister. That's a treasured Lonsdale Quay restaurant. Our Liam Britton met with some of his family and friends and shares their stories.
You could always count on Ralph Downs for a hearty bowl of clam chowder, beef barley, or chicken noodle soup. But he was more than that. His neighbor, Steph Baker, remembers him as more than just the guy next door. He was a friend and mentor to her kids.
He watched my children grow up. He was our support system whenever we needed it. And then when my kids were old enough to work, it was their first job.
In 1996, Downs gave Sarah Robertson her first job, and she kept coming back for over 25 years.
Every time I'd go back, I got married, had 2 kids, and introduced them to the kids. He always had time for everybody. So you would go there to update him on your family, and he just took an interest in everybody that ever worked for him, everybody that ever met him. He was just such a genuinely nice and friendly person.
This was the first memorial held for Downs, who died of cancer in late November. He was 63. He immigrated from Germany in 1991 and was an executive chef in BC for many years, but grew tired of the corporate world. Friends say he loved to make stocks, sauces, and soups, though, so he made that his bread and butter. And actual bread and butter? You could also find that at his restaurant, too, of course. Countless patrons visited the Soupmeister over the years, and on Friday night, they all say goodbye to him in the only fitting way, over a hearty bowl of soup. Liam Britton, CBC News, North Vancouver.
Well, some encouraging news ahead of the weekend. Statistics Canada reports a whopping boost to the economy with 150,000 new jobs added last month. And most were full-time jobs in the wholesale, retail, healthcare, and manufacturing sectors. In addition, wages are up 4.5% over the last year, and the unemployment rate is holding steady at 5%. All this to say the labor market is surpassing most economists' expectations. Well, coming up after the break, the isolation that comes with leaving home behind and turning to Canada. We'll hear what one local group is trying to do to create a safe space. Stick around. Thanks so much for staying with us during our commercial-free live stream. Well, a beloved children's doctor in Vancouver has died after living with cancer. Paul Moxham, a surgeon at BC Children's Hospital, was known for his ability to put children at ease. And as John Hernandez reports, he made a lasting impression on countless families who are grateful for his care.
My name is Paul Moxham, and I'm a pediatric otolaryngologist at BC Children's Hospital.
Paul Moxham went into work with a smile just about every day, and you could say it was infectious.
One of my favorite things is actually not surgery, it's seeing patients in the clinic. I have a number of silly little magic tricks and things that I employ during that to make them a little more comfortable.
Moxham was a proud doctor at BC Children's Hospital, known for being down to earth, humble, and always good for a laugh.
That is definitely one of the big lessons I took away, the way he used humor to just improve life.
Like many parents, Angela Toth met with many doctors to find the right fit for her daughter who has Down syndrome. The search stopped as soon as they saw Dr. Moxham.
He treated her like a princess, and he oozed attention and joy on her, and she ate it up.
I do treat every child that is in my practice as if they were a member of my family. All I want for them is that which I would want for one of my 2 daughters or my wife or anyone else.
A passion and warmth that many kids could feel when he walked into the room.
My daughter has this sort of sixth sense of understanding and knowing individuals and where their hearts are at, and she immediately was put at ease.
Moxham was diagnosed with brain cancer in 2021, a battle he fought for 16 months. His family says he never wasted a minute and spent his remaining days laughing and sharing stories, the same lessons he instilled on the families he helped through challenging times.
If you're not crying, you might as well be laughing, like I have said before. He did hard things and he did them well. And I just found that really inspiring, and I wanted to be like that too.
Moxham died on January 13th.
He really left a legacy after 23 years on site. He trained countless residents, fellows, people in the clinic that really he showed how you can put your best foot forward and really put the patient at the center of care.
We can think, we hopefully were impactful today and we did some good work.
Paul Moxham leaves behind a wife, 2 daughters, and immeasurable gratitude from the families he served. John Hernandez, CBC News, Vancouver.
Well, for new immigrants, settling in Canada is often seen as the dream. But deep isolation can be common, often fueled by language barriers and a lack of resources to integrate into the community. Tarnjit Parmar has more now on what one Metro Vancouver group is doing to make the transition easier.
It's a need that's only growing with more people immigrating from India to this province.
People didn't know that there are a lot of resources available. So that's why we created this all program, which is called Let's Talk. Talking is our medicine.
The Guru Nanak Food Bank has long been a safe space for those who rely on donations to get by. And now the group is trying to do more by launching a helpline in English and Punjabi. Nearly 155,000 new immigrants settled in Metro Vancouver from 2016 to 2021. Most of them came from India, pursuing the Canadian dream on their own. Councillor Manjot Maan says a major hurdle is often taking that first step to reach out and ask for help.
I have found with the few people that have come in for counseling, it's hard to talk about that with everyone back home because they are excited for you, and there's this sense of hope that you're here in this new place and you're settling in and it must be wonderful. So it's not always easy to say, hey, actually, I am really struggling.
She says another issue is the cost.
Counseling isn't covered. It would be out of pocket for most students. So sometimes the people who have inquired have only been able to come in for single sessions.
For its part, the food bank is also hosting monthly seminars for immigrants, providing resources and information on issues like housing, employment, and health.
Immigrants have questions regarding their resumes, their employments, their housing, and how to go to the doctor, to see the doctor. We get so many calls every time. We want to see the doctors not available. Emergency is so busy. So there are so many concerns which need to be addressed.
Including letting them know they are not alone. Tarnjit Parmar, CBC News, Surrey.
Ooh, here's a live shot of Georgia Street. Looks a little busy, but not too busy for a Friday night. I'm surprised. Well, Kuljeet will have your full forecast coming up next.
They sang the words for old time's sake. Never before have they sung with such euphoria.
We see this as a good first step towards the liberation of our brothers in South Africa, obviously.
We have achieved at least one significant step on the road to the abolition of the apartheid system and the institution of a free and democratic South Africa based on the equality of all people, regardless of racial color.
There were doubts, though, about the white South African government.
I'm a skeptic, and looking at their past history, They've never been known to be reliable and honest.
There were also doubts about Mandela, the leader, and criticism came from both extremes.
Yes, I find it was too much liberal speaking. It's not Mandela that went to jail. This is not Mandela that stood for himself when he was supposed to be sentenced to death and talked as a proud African man.
My concern as a South African is that Mr. Mandela, in his speech this morning, tended to be more partisan in terms of talking about the African National Congress. What we are fighting for in South Africa is democracy. We are not fighting to replace apartheid with the ANC.
One by one, we will tear down. But those doubts can be addressed tomorrow. Tonight, they're singing and dancing for joy that Nelson Mandela is free at last. May Wong, CBC News, Vancouver.
Hi, I'm Amy Bell, and here's what's in your CBC Vancouver inbox.
On March 8th, celebrate International Women's Day with Gloria Makarenko at the West Coast Leafs Equality Breakfast. Get your tickets at westcoastleaf.org. And dance away the winter blues with Corleone at Pop Capella 3 on March 3rd and 4th. Backed by a band of Vancouver's best, the Corleone Ensemble will take on your favorite hits. Tickets at corleone.org.
The weather update is brought to you by Direct Buy Furnace, installing the most reliable heating and cooling brand. It's hard to stop a train.
All right, time to check out what's happening in the world of weather with our weather specialist, Kuljeet Kaila. Kuljeet, okay, I'm a bit confused. It feels like I don't even know what to pull out of the wardrobe, whether it's a toque, whether it's boots, sandals. What the heck is going on with our weather?
It's that kind of weather, I call it in-between season wardrobe. So you kind of have your spring stuff out, but you still need a layer of winter to get through the day. And that's what happened this morning. Cleared up quite nicely. It was even quite humid, temperatures in the double digits. It was a very nice Friday, but we do have another low pressure system coming in, and that means we've got to bring out those umbrellas back. That'll be early Sunday morning when the system arrives and hits Greater Victoria and the South Coast as well, bringing rain for us and snow for parts of the Cariboo region around Prince George as well. It will be a mix of snow and rain, so it won't be too heavy and it won't stick around for too long. Temperatures across BC tomorrow looking pretty good. Some sunshine for Kelowna and Cranbrook, a mix of snow and rain in Prince George and 1 degree, and the same story for Williams Lake. Some data from today, like I said, double digits is what we hit today, which is way above seasonal for our high. Even our low is 3 degrees overnight, so quite warm on that side. The next rainfall, 70% risk of rain will start, like I said, Sunday morning. Humidity was very high as well, 70% today, so lots of moisture in the air to carry us through. Temperatures will go down in the next few days, especially overnight lows by Monday and Tuesday, down to -1 for Valentine's evening. But we will have sunshine, and then they'll bounce back to average temperatures for this time of year. 5 degrees for Wednesday, and then a bit of rain for Thursday and Friday, and temperatures holding steady around 5 degrees. Zahra?
Awesome. So a mix for the week of love is what you're telling me.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Always a fan of the mixed bag of weather, so I'll take it. It's kind of like a choose your own adventure. And with that, that's your Friday evening, but you know what I'm going to say. We've got some more news for you before you let that head hit the pillow. Take one last scroll through our website, that's cbc.ca/BC. Now stay warm, stay safe, and if this week isn't a strong enough reminder, hold your loved ones close tonight. Have a great night.